All right, and welcome back, everybody. We are now at the halfway point, made it over halfway through the season for NFL Survivor. This is Dave's Betting Corner. We're back. We got the trio again today. We'll introduce the one first. One loss, but he's been on the podcast for a while. He got back on track this week. Franco, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I sweated out that Monday Night Football game with the Lions over the Raiders. It just felt close the entire time. Raiders didn't look good at all, but Lions just let them hang around. 8-point game.
That could be one I could rant about for maybe 20 years because we're on the same fantasy football league as well, and Jimmy G couldn't complete any pass. I had Jacobs and Myers in my lineup. Ended up with the least amount of points, but that's here nor there. Coming back for a second week after getting another win, a big win on his debut on the show. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm feeling great. Anytime you can go out and get your hometown team to go out there and get a win, it's always nice. Kind of sweated a little bit in the fourth quarter, but, it was garbage time. They're in Arizona. You can't hate them for a road win like that, so pretty happy.
Definitely, and we were both on the Ravens this past weekend. There's not too many chances in the future I'd like to use them, so I definitely think we got a sweet spot with a good team there. We head on to Week 9. It's going to be a long list we're reading off, boys, of teams we've used so far. For myself, I've got Commanders, Giants, Chiefs, 49ers, Dolphins, Rams, Seahawks, Ravens. Franco has Ravens, Cowboys, Seahawks, Eagles, Dolphins, Chiefs, Bills, Lions. Ryan has Commanders, Dallas, Chiefs, Eagles, Dolphins, Bills, Rams, and Ravens. Soon enough, it's going to be easier to read off the teams we haven't used. A lot of people have probably used these big teams by now. We've used a good handful. I think this week we have some pretty chalk picks. There's some teams with big spreads that aren't necessarily usually a team you'd like to use in Survivor. We'll go into those picks in a little bit. I'll give it to Ryan first here, though, the commissioner of our Survivor pool. Ryan, besides the obvious ones this week, if you look at games with small spreads, say the spread is 3 points and under maybe, what's a sneaky pick you think people are going to try to use this week? Something out of left field. Every week we have about 1 to 5 people who have random picks, and we kind of look at it why did they choose that? Ryan, what do you think those teams are going to be this week?
Yeah, like you said, I think it's going to be very chalk this week with either the Saints or the Browns. But if you're going to go ahead and get cute, I think people like Justin Herbert. Maybe it's the media effect choking him up every single week, telling him that he's so good to beat the Jets. But it could be someone going in sneaky and picking New England just because they think that Washington has gotten rid of their entire team and they're traveling up to New England. And, it's still Bill Belichick. And, that they're coming off a pretty decent win.
Yeah, those are two ones and their teams as well that you might not see on the board too much, but I'm sure everyone will have a couple people. Franco, besides those two, the Chargers and the Patriots, do you have any other ones that are kind of flippy-floppy games that people may pick? I know there was at least one you're eyeing this week that's not going to be your official pick.
Yeah, so I have two that I was looking at. They're on more of the cuter side. The first one is Tampa Bay at Houston. If Baker takes care of the ball, I think Tampa has a good defense to go along with that. So I think they could beat a lot of teams, especially the Texans. Not going to lock that one in right now. But another cute pick is Indianapolis at Carolina. Carolina did just get their first win last week, but they're still 1-6, so they're not a great team. The Colts have hung with some teams lately. They did lose to the Saints last week, and the week before that, they lost by 1 to the Browns in a shootout. So, Minshew Mania down there in Indianapolis, they can hang with some teams, so I don't hate that pick either.
And really, there's, like I mentioned, a lot of these games you can't go wrong with this week, mainly because we have a lot of the good teams playing each other. If you look at the schedule, you've got Chiefs, Dolphins, Ravens, Seahawks, You've got Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, Bengals. A lot of these teams are teams you like to use to secure wins. But when they're all playing each other, you can't really use them because those games can go either way. So if you have them on the board, there's no way you're using them in those games this week. Ryan, you mentioned two games. They both have the highest spreads at 8 and 8.5. A lot of people are going to be using the Saints or the Browns this week. I'm assuming you're going to use one of those two. So who are you locking in early on Thursday if you had to lock it in right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely locking in the Saints, even including fantasy football. My two quarterbacks are actually on a bye, so I went ahead and picked up Derek Carr. I think the Saints are just going to take it full throttle to them. They were talking last week, the Bears couldn't get any pressure on any of the quarterbacks that they've seen so far, so Derek Carr is going to have all day to throw. Alvin Kamara is going to run like crazy, and they might win 40-10.
Absolutely, and the Saints right now, they have the highest spread of the week at 8.5. Franco, are you going with the Saints as well, or are you switching it up?
I'm gonna go with the other one that you mentioned, the 8-point spread. Cleveland. We got Arizona coming into town. So far, it looks like it's going to be PJ Walker versus whoever the hell is starting for the Cardinals.
Clayton Tune.
Clayton Tune. Dobbs got traded out of town. I didn't trust the Cardinals with Dobbs. I definitely don't trust him now. Even without Deshaun Watson, I think Cleveland gets it done this week.
Yeah, flashes of Rodgers versus Brady there.
It's definitely a star-studded game there at quarterback.
I think the Browns' defense is too nice. The Browns' defense is just what's going to carry them to that win, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that's the key too. Clayton Tune coming in with his first game. It's not a tune-up game for sure against the Browns, who have such a good defense. I'm blocking the Browns as well with an asterisk right now, as long as Tunchi starts for them. There is still a slight chance that Kyler Murray plays, so if I find out any information on that by lock-in Saturday midnight, definitely going to change the pick there. But right now, I think the Browns are the pick I'm going to go with. It's a home game, just like the Saints, so you can't go wrong with either of them. I just trust the Browns' defense more right now than the Saints. You can't go wrong with either one. We all may look like idiots next week. I feel like at least Ryan maybe has the edge here where if you take a loss on the Saints, it's like, oh, okay, the Saints should have won that game. But it's like, Frank, if we take a loss on the Browns, I'm getting my first strike, and you would be out of Survivor on the Browns. Can you handle that pressure?
I'm going to be living through it all weekend. If I come in here on Monday with an L and I'm out, and it's like, the Browns is the Browns. You should have known. It's going to be tough to swallow.
You might have to massage that loss out.
And Frank, are you with me there where if Kyler's going to end up starting, are you sticking with the Browns or are you going to switch as well?
No, if Kyler Murray's starting, anything can happen, I think. Even after being out a year, I would be switching up to the Saints at that point.
That's what I would be too. So if that happens, we'll end up posting it on social media. I think we still have a good bit of juice left in this Survivor pool this year. Ryan, I think you said there's maybe 40 out of 90 some left?
Yeah, I believe 40 people left, which, starting with 97, that means, most of the pool's already out. Once you get into this point of the season, you pretty much know who's who, which is good. So you kind of then just have to look back and say, hey, did I pick all the top 10 teams already? Or, who do I have left? So it's definitely crunch time.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, we have 33 left that have one loss. Only 7 are perfect thus far. And then, 57 are already gone.
Yep.
And I think as it dwindles down, we'll definitely start seeing strategies change, so we'll definitely discuss that more coming into the next week. Boys, I want to thank you for jumping on today. I'm a quick little Survivor, but that's how we do it. Just keep it quick and simple, give you guys the information you need going into your Survivor pools. Frank, thanks for joining us. Do you have any shout-outs you need to go through this week?
World Series wrapped up last night. The Rangers were a buzzsaw the entire postseason. They beat the Orioles, but hats off to them.
That's why I was rooting for them. Ryan, when you give the shout-outs, I want your take on this as well. I went into the World Series wanting the Rangers because in my eyes it's like, well, they beat the Orioles, so we can at least say we lost to the World Series champs. Franco was going with the Diamondbacks. Which logic were you going with? Were you with the Rangers or the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. I was just looking for a good game, honestly. But as I started watching, I started picking out guys that I like, and there was just more guys on the Rangers that I liked. So I was feeling myself rooting towards them.
There it is. And do you have any shout outs you need to get into?
Yeah, shout out to Stevenson University Club Baseball. We got our alumni game this weekend, so me and Franco will be suiting it up again.
There you go. Can the
Putting the
people
cleats
find
on.
that online anywhere? Will it be live streamed?
No. You can come to Owings Mills and watch us though.
There it is. All right, we'll get a recap next week. Thanks again, you two, for coming in. Thanks to you to all the listeners. This is Dave's Betting Corner on Dave's R&R. Best of luck to your survivor pools this week.
See you, Dave.